WorldDenver talks today with Richard Whittle from the Smithsonian Institution's Wilson Center. He is an expert on drones. So why don't we start with what goes on locally here. U.S. Congress has told the FAA to open the skies to commercial drones by 2015. That means, according to what I've read, there could be as many as 30,000 airborne cameras or transports or robotic devices up there in the sky. The FAA has already authorized 100 different agencies to begin using civilian drones. Here in Colorado, the Mesa County Police Department is already using them extensively. And what controls do you think the public should be asking their local and state and national representatives to put in place?
Yeah, well, that's an excellent question, and I think it's going to take some debate. I think, for starters, it won't happen. The skies won't become that crowded that fast. 30,000 is the figure that the FAA is estimating within the next 20 years. To do this safely, the FAA has already said that drone manufacturers, drone users, will have to meet what's in current law, current regulation, the cornerstone of air safety, which is called the see and avoid standard. The pilot has to be able to see and avoid other aircraft. Now, drones don't have a pilot in them, and the people who are flying them from the ground often can't see their own aircraft, much less others. In fact, they usually can't see their own aircraft. They know where they are because they have instrument readings, they have video screens, etc. So to make it safe to fly them, generally in the National Airspace System, they're going to have to develop what's called sense and avoid technology. And this will be a combination of radar and electronic communication that will, and software programming that goes into the flight control computer of the drone and the flight control computers of other aircraft that will allow the operator of a drone to know when other aircraft are getting into areas, or when his drone is getting into areas that may no longer give him safe separation from other aircraft. It also may depend on the FAA instituting a new air traffic control system that's based on GPS technology called NextGen. And I think that that's not expected to actually be functional until around 2025.
What is Congress's impetus to do this? What do they see as the benefit of why would they have said open the skies by 2015?
We could be looking at, by some estimates, an $80 billion industry at some point between people making drones, selling them, operating them, doing research and development on them. So it could be an economic boon, and that was attractive, I think, to a lot of members of Congress.
Is there a global race? I was on BBC researching this, and I found a clip of one of their newscasts talking about how they thought this was an industry in which Britain could be competitive. So is there kind of a global drone race, like a global arms race?
Certainly other countries are interested in developing their own drones, and the technology is proliferating. There's a great deal of pressure coming from industry now for the United States government to ease its export restrictions, to allow companies to sell drones to other countries. Israel actually was creating and flying drones before the United States.
I read that. Yeah, I read that.
Russia is working on them, China is working on them, Iran is working on them. I think the United States is clearly the leader in the technology and probably will be for some time to come. But yes, we're in the midst of a technological revolution, and it's going to be worldwide.
And I think it was in one of the things that you wrote that you said it was probably the biggest innovation since the atomic bomb. Does that sound familiar?
Well, I get people debate me on that, but I think that that it is the most important military technology, perhaps since the atomic bomb, certainly since the intercontinental ballistic missile. And I think it's more important actually than the ICBM, because thank God the ICBMs haven't been used ever. Drones have been used to great effect by the U.S. military in Iraq and in Afghanistan and by the CIA elsewhere. And they have altered not only the way the military fights, but the very structure of the military.
So what's your judgment in having studied this? Are they helping or are they hurting on balance?
Some people are actually happy to have the terrorists being removed. I think roughly 80 top al-Qaeda leaders have been killed, targeted killings by drones. The big issue to me for an American citizen is, do we really find it acceptable for the President of the United States to be able to put basically anyone in the world, including a U.S. citizen, on what amounts to a hit list?
And at what level is that decision made?
And the administration has been very reluctant to talk about their use of drones in any detail at all, have refused to release documents that would shed light on exactly what process they go through to put people on the hit list and to decide whether they should be killed. In most cases, these people are deemed legal combatants. In other cases, it's deemed legal to kill them because it's deemed an act of self-defense for the United States. But they haven't actually come out with anything on paper and laid it out and debated it in public.
And of course, some of these people have been American citizens.
I think it's a real question whether it's constitutional even for this to be done in this fashion.
Well, let's put the shoe on the other foot. If we can send drones with missiles to other countries, what's to say they can't send them here?
I don't think that the threat is as large as it might seem, partly because the United States is able to operate drones in countries on the other side of the world only because some very clever communications specialists in the U.S. Air Force figured out how to operate them by satellite. And this happened shortly before the war with Afghanistan began. I don't think it's that easy to do it. The day when other countries will be sending unmanned aircraft into U.S. airspace and causing a serious threat to the United States, I think, are far off.
So it sounds like you think this is inevitable. It's happening, not quickly, but slowly over time, and
and it can
we shouldn't be that worried about it.
You shouldn't be that worried about it, and it can be actually a very good thing. Drones can replace manned aircraft in a lot of roles: crop dusting, monitoring agricultural crops, rescue work, looking for people, wildfires, which I think people in Colorado are well familiar with. They can be used because they send video down. Right. They can be used to help firefighters get to the right spot in a hurry. Police work. You mentioned the fact that police here are already using them. The good things that can be done with unmanned aircraft are only limited by your imagination. But one day they may be used, and you touched on it in your introduction, to carry cargo. I mean, FedEx and DHL and UPS would probably love to be able to have, say, one piloted aircraft followed by 4 or 5 that were drones and controlled by that pilot.
So you mean a drone is going to come and bring my Amazon order to my porch in a little drone?
He's going to bring you your radio-controlled aircraft kit that you bought from Amazon, so because you wanted to fly it in the park.